So I've actually had people who have been on a completely different other side of the country go to events that I've been at who found my booth again and found me because of my brand. Hi everyone, welcome to Behind the Booth. I'm Jade, and with me as always is my co-host and producer, Heather.
And on this channel, we talk about wild stories from Comic-Con vendors because we are Comic-Con vendors. Jade has her own booth, Tokyo Dog Designs. You see all the fish behind her. She made that with her own invention. So come take a look at her booth. It's beautiful, it's colorful, and we would love to meet you. We have a list of all the conventions we're going to be at in the link on our bio. But besides that, today we're actually talking about branding. Um, which, we just kind of gave you an example right here. Like, talk about it. That's kind of the first, not the first step, but a really important step in branding. Is just talk about it. People need to know about it. So, Jade, you start us off.
There's a huge difference between branding and marketing. Branding is more of the concept of saying something and associating a business. So the things I like to use it as examples are, for example, a swish on the side of a billboard. It looks like a check mark, but it's elongated. Most of us know that as Nike. Or when we think about red soda cans, we think about Coca-Cola.
Mhm.
Nothing about that brand necessarily says buy this product. It's just when we see it, we know what it is. Marketing is a side of things of saying like just do it, or la 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 la, like that song from, again, I can't sing, from the Coca-Cola Santa packs, right? We think about the polar bears. So there's actually two separate sides of this, but what we're going to talk about today is branding. Branding are things like your logo, your company colors, some of the promotions that you put out there, how you design these things. And we'll talk a little bit about Canva in this episode and also in our social media episode. So thinking about your brand, most of you already have what we call a branding kit. That includes your logo, the specific color code of your colors. So, for example, I have three. I technically have a light blue color in all of my stuff. I have this kind of off orange for my little Shiba Inu, and I have purple boba in his drink. And those are kind of the colors that go together with mine. Now you have white, you have black, things to outline. I'm not really counting those colors, but I could tell you what that specific color of blue is. And you want to have this stuff written down somewhere. Mine's all included in Google Drive. We're doing an episode about Google Drive as well and how we utilize it. But I have these written down. I also have the specific fonts I use written down. Your fonts also need to match. And so why we're talking about this is within your own booth display, not even your website, nothing else, but within your booth display, having all these things kind of match and look alike will help your clients and your customers find you. So I've actually had people who have been on a completely different other side of the country go to events that I've been at who found my booth again and found me because of my branding. Now, it's not just like the name of your company, but the way that you put your displays up, as well as what you match it to on your social media. When we have banners on our social media, when you have on your website, any of the information that you have on there, trying to the best possibly that you can, which is not always 100% possible depending on your limitations of your website, but being able to put a similar font on there. And even when it comes down to like the logos you put on, let's say Square or Stripe or Venmo, you want that same logo to be there. Or if it's a picture of you, putting you there consistently across all of them so that way people know it's you. Leaving things blank or switching them up depending on the platform. I'm sure there's different opinions on that when it comes to who you talk to about your branding and marketing. But in my particular case, when I go to accept a payment, or if somebody's like, hey, you're going to be in Philadelphia, that's awesome. I saw your social media post. I've never met you before, but I'll look for your booth. My little dog is on everything and they can find me easily. I was just at an event where they did basically tic-tac-toe on little cards with everyone's logo on them, and they had to go to all the
Mm.
booths to get that signed by us or stickered or whatever. And I did not have my normal banner with me because it was an outdoor event. But I did
Ooh.
have, I know, outdoor events are their own thing. But I did have one of my scroll banners and the We Accept page where it shows, Venmo and all the things that we accept had my little dog on it. And people walk into my booth and were looking for my dog. and then saw it and like, this is you, right? Like, yeah, that's me. And then I signed it and it was adorable. So whatever you can do with that is important. Now I have a friend who does pins as well, and she has beautiful pens. But all of her marketing stuff is like a lime green. And everything that she has, even if it's her Discord channel, has that same lime green because she knows the name of that color. And we're not saying it's like chartreuse lemon or whatever you would find at, a paint store. There's literally a code with numbers
Mm-hmm.
on it that if you type that code in or paste it or whatever, it will find that exact color.
Yeah.
Everything she has is like that. Her business cards, her booth itself, she has got a cloth that's like a spandex cloth that she puts over her booth and takes the black cloth off. She has a banner that's behind her that is literally that same color. So you walk by and you know it's her
Yeah.
every time. So those types of brand recognitions are really, really important for you. If you don't know how to set them up, there are some programs like Canva that do it very easily for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not a Canva certified person. They don't pay us or anything like that, but we use it
But
like crazy.
if they want to, you
Yeah,
should email us at talkbehindthebooth@gmail.com, Canva. We absolutely love you, so please
we
sponsor this
love you,
podcast.
Canva. Yeah. So there are things that they do. Branding kits. You can literally design your logo off of Canva. That's what I did. You can put together social media stuff where you click on your brand kit and automatically puts everything in for you, so you don't have to memorize these numbers. There are easier ways to do it. But if you ever work with somebody outside of you, so let's say I have Heather build me a banner for some outdoor event. I need to send her this information, or else
Mhm.
she's just going to have to either come up with something herself or try and match it. And that's
That's always
extra work
iffy.
that they charge for.
Yeah.
So give them everything that they need in the first place. This also includes in your videos. A lot of videos, especially if you put them on YouTube, there's a way to put your watermark logo in the corner as long as you have it in a vector.
Mhm.
Vector is a whole other thing that you can absolutely look up. You don't have to do it in Photoshop. You can do it in Canva or you can do it yourself, depending on how you save. But putting that on all your videos is another way to show who you are and what you're doing. Kind of think of it like that thing where TikTok has that little like bobble that shows that it's a TikTok video. Now, whenever we see that, like, oh, we know that person made it in TikTok. It's kind of the same thing. Heather, what would you like to share about branding, especially when it comes to podcasts?
Well, I what I try to tell people is like, yeah, you need to have your logo, you need to have your colors. That a lot of people get hung up on that. They will be like, okay, I need to come up with a logo, I need to come up with the perfect colors and all that. Like, sure, if you want to, you can even go on to Fiverr, or if you are good at graphics or something, you can find somebody to make one for you that, but once you get it, just keep it. Just keep it. If, after a while it really doesn't feel right, make another one. But like, don't let that stop you from putting yourself out there and putting that branding out there. I really like that idea of the bright green because especially a lot of these booths, there's going to be, oh my gosh, there's booths that are gigantic that have huge posters everywhere because they can spend like thousands of dollars on a booth. And
Mhm.
so most of us are going to be starting out and we're just going to have the booth and whatever we can build around that. Um, and so you want to stand out. Jade's does really well because it's very light colored. A lot of people have, black stuff. You want a neutral background, obviously. But she has light and then she has bright colors everywhere. And so it's really easy to spot. And then you have that blue, you have that dog on there. And
Mhm.
so, like, make it feel right to you, but don't let that trip you up because, like, nobody's going to care. It's not going to be, you're not trying to win a contest for the best logo here. Like, find something
Mhm.
that works for you, feels good for your brand. Um, if you're obviously, if you're doing a podcast, I would say a good thing would be to have your faces. All of our logos and everything have our cute little faces because it's all about us, like that's what this podcast is we're wanting to educate you, but it's, from our voices, from our perspective. And so, like, if that's what you're branding is you, like I'm getting more into auditioning for things, I am putting myself out there, I'm branding myself, so I need to put my face, my personality everywhere. um and you can easily do that, and Canva is amazing, and we'll talk about that in social media, the social media marketing episode, because yeah, again, Canva, please sponsor us, you're the best. um and there's so many things you
And I
can do
wanted to
for that.
say, you don't be afraid of rebranding.
Yeah.
If you try something and it's not working out, as long as you change everything at the same time, it's
Mhm.
okay to rebrand. And I wouldn't say rebrand over and over and over again because who was it? Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec, where he's like, Mouse Rat's a great name, but it also sucks. So maybe I should do
Scarecrow
this.
boat.
And
Maybe we should
yeah,
do this one.
yeah. And then Anne's like, dude, if you keep changing it, nobody's going to know who to follow. So
Yeah.
there's a part of that. But I mean, multi-million dollar companies rebrand all the time. I just saw Kia change their logo not too long ago. And I owned a Kia when I was in college. And I had no idea what this other brand was. And I eventually figured it out. I was like, oh my God, they rebranded. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But
You
I
see
mean, just
the
like I said,
new look, same great taste everywhere.
yes, yes, you see that. So, and we won't even talk about shrinkflation because that just gives me the red ass. But
Right.
when you when you do that, just start with something and you'll figure out what works. I found
Yeah.
out that my light blue needed to be lighter when I started putting it on things. It wasn't light enough, and so people thought it was a bit too I don't want to say adult, but it just wasn't as friendly of a color. So I
Mhm.
found a friendlier color. Is it my favorite color blue? No, but it's one that works for my booth and it's complementary. And if you think about like the color wheel, the orange, is opposite to the blue. My little dog is a really light orange and my blue is a very light blue, so it works. And
Mhm.
ask other people. You have friends, you have fans, you have relatives, you have a neighbor. Just ask them what they think. Now, they hopefully will say things, politely if they don't like it. But ask their opinion and get some just basic research done. And people will tell you, most of the people around you want you to succeed. They
Mhm.
really, really do. So ask around. If you don't know, send us a message. Ask us.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have time, we'll look at it.
Send us a picture. We would love to take a
That's
look
for
at
sure.
that for you. We are
Tag
not
us.
experts. Yeah, tag us and everything.
Yeah. Post something out, tag us, and ask our opinion. If we're
Yeah.
available on our social media, we'll mention something. We'll be
Yeah,
nice about it.
absolutely.
We promise.
We will. We're very constructive. Like, and I don't like to criticize. I like to point out what's right. Um, but
Mhm.
um but yeah, like she said, don't be afraid of rebranding because it is what it is and you're figuring it out. We talk about this a lot. Give yourself a lot of grace. Give yourself time to figure out how, and when it feels right, it'll feel right. And that's when you can be like, okay, you know what? This feels right and I've gotten enough input from other people, and that's when you can stop asking and then lean into it. Put it everywhere. Like do everything with it. But, give yourself time to be able to figure out what is working. Like I didn't realize you had changed that blue, but that makes sense because that your lighter blue is very
Tiny
like
change.
nice. It's just
Tiny, tiny change.
it's nice, yeah.
And I even do it with like my curtains, my background. I do it with the panels
Hmm.
are as white, but I would try to do a lot of those complementary colors. I mean, like she said, everything on my booth is super bright and eye catching. But even with like little lights and stuff that I put on my booth, I'll try to get that lighter blue color because people will think of me, just like my friend that I was talking about, where we are friends online. And I noticed her because of the green in her booth.
Yeah.
And she also had egg rolls. So those are two things that caught
That
my
would do it.
attention.
Yep. So just to wrap everything up, like when it comes to branding, find what's going to work for your brand, make adjustments, don't be afraid to rebrand, ask for advice, talk to us if you want to. We are not experts, but we will help any way that we possibly can because we want you to succeed. And anybody else around you wants you to succeed as well. So don't be afraid to talk to people and don't be afraid to put yourself out there with that.
We hope you found this episode about branding to be super helpful. And a special thank you to Nerdy Girl Podcast for sponsoring this episode. We'll see you later.